the game of geopolitics, there are no permanent friends, no eternal enemies, only interests. The battlefield is not always fought with guns, but with oil, energy, trade, and strategy. And what's happening right now between Russia, Ukraine, India, Europe, and the US is the perfect example that in international relations, morality comes second. Profit comes first. When the war in Ukraine started, the West moved quickly. Sanctions on Russia, isolation, cutting ties. Europe, once deeply dependent on Russian energy, suddenly needed new suppliers. Washington pressured countries worldwide to pick a side. Either you stand with Ukraine or you stand with Russia. It sounded like a battle between good and evil. But behind closed doors, the story was different. While the West was sanctioning Russian oil and gas, India, yes, India, one of Washington's strategic partners, saw an opportunity. Moscow, desperate to keep its oil flowing, started selling crude at huge discounts. India seized the moment and bought Russian oil like never before, filling its reserves at record levels. But here's the twist. India didn't just use this cheap oil for itself. No. India refined that oil, turned it into diesel and fuel, and then sold it back to Europe, the same Europe that sanctioned Russia. And guess what? Europe paid premium prices. This is not just business. This is geopolitical chess. While the US publicly called for unity against Russia, it looked the other way when India profited from the situation. Why? Because Washington needs India, not for friendship, but for strategy. India is a counterweight to China's growing influence, and that makes it untouchable. And Europe? It had no choice. It depended on energy. While politicians gave speeches about defending democracy, ships full of Russian-origin diesel, refined in India, quietly docked in European ports. Everyone knew. No one stopped it. Because here's the brutal truth. In geopolitics, principles are negotiable. Interests are not. This isn't just about India. This is about the nature of power itself. Every country plays the same game. When it comes to survival, growth, and dominance, morality is a tool, not a goal. Look at the bigger picture. The US sanctions Russia but buys Russian uranium for its nuclear plants. Europe sanctions Russian oil but imports diesel refined from Russian crude. China claims neutrality but stocks up on discounted energy to fuel its economy. Even countries that loudly condemn the war are secretly benefiting from it. Wars are tragedies, yes, but they are also markets. Someone always pays the price and someone else always profits. And today, India is among the winners. By positioning itself as a refinery hub, it turned Russian sanctions into a golden business model. But before we judge India, ask yourself, would any other country act differently? The answer is no. Every nation puts its own interests first. This is why there are no real friends in geopolitics, only temporary alliances. Today's ally can be tomorrow's rival. Today's enemy can be tomorrow's partner. History is full of examples. The US and the Soviet Union were allies in World War II, then enemies in the Cold War. The US and China normalized relations in the 1970s, boosting trade, but today they're locked in a technological and military rivalry. Saudi Arabia and Iran fought proxy wars for decades, yet today, thanks to China's mediation, they're rebuilding ties. What's happening now between India, Russia, and the West fits the same pattern. It's not about loyalty. It's about advantage. And here's the emotional punch. While leaders play this game of power, ordinary people pay the price. In Ukraine, millions lost their homes, their families, their lives. In Europe, energy bills skyrocketed, inflation soared, and industries suffered. In developing countries, food prices exploded because grain shipments were disrupted. Meanwhile, somewhere else, someone's bank account is growing. This is the ugly truth no politician will say on camera. Wars are profitable for the right people. And right now, India is proving it. By buying cheap, selling high, and strengthening its global position, it's playing the game better than most. The West complains quietly but does nothing. Because it needs India too much to confront it. So the next time you hear a politician talk about friendship between nations, remember this. Friendship is temporary. Interests are permanent. And in geopolitics, morality bends when money flows. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Never believe that nations act out of kindness. They act out of necessity, out of strategy, and out of self-preservation. And as the war continues, more opportunities will arise. More players will exploit them. Some openly, some quietly. But the game never stops. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think India is smart for taking advantage of this situation? Or is it morally wrong to profit from war? Let me know in the comments. I read everything you write. And if you want to understand the hidden truths behind global politics, the secrets nobody tells you, then subscribe now and turn on notifications. Because in this world, knowledge isn't just power. It's survival.